Welcome to Rich Conversations. This is another one of our Rich Reflections, where we're going to take about 30 to 50 minutes out of our day to simply just think more intentionally about our own life. I'll ask some questions and simply just think more about it. Put some effort into just being thoughtful. And through these answers and by taking this time, we can gain a little bit more clarity in the direction we want to be going in life and the actions to take to get there. And we'll start this session how we do everyone, and that is 5 minutes of breathing. Earth-shattering innovation. So I'm going to set a timer here for 5 minutes. Go. So we want to sit up straight and just breathe in and breathe out. If thoughts come to mind, simply just let them pass. It's not a big deal. All right. So that was 5 minutes of breathing. How do we feel? You feel a little bit more regenerated? Do you feel clear? Do you feel calm? Maybe you don't. It's a little harder for me. Yeah, but we're here. We're in this together. And we're going to start this session, how we do every session, besides the breathing, is the question, what are we grateful for? I find this to always be a fantastic place to start. Gratitude and patience. Start there, and good things will happen. And there are so many things to be grateful for. Pick one, or maybe a few, that you just want to explore a little bit more. It's helpful to be grateful because it takes us out of ourself. It places us in a larger world where we can kind of see the individual things going on. You know, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. I'm seeing that. Whereas if we don't practice gratitude, all we're thinking about is like in our heads, in our own world, like what's here, what's in front of me in a way. And we're not able to extract more. This is actually a really special reflection session, rich reflection. Bit of a milestone for me. Today, I finished the revisions for my first novel, The Gate of Clouds. I've been carrying an intensity throughout life the last 3 weeks. My deadline is Friday. I'm recording this on a Wednesday. My personal deadline for myself is today, so that over the next 2 days, if something comes to my mind, I can kind of sneak it into the novel again, because something always comes up. So I'm celebrating. So I want you to think about what's a milestone for you that you've celebrated last, or what's a milestone coming up, and how will you celebrate? Yeah. Celebration. And I'm choosing to celebrate. I actually have prepared for this rich reflection. I got a nice bottle of bourbon that I'm going to open up and sip on while we're having this reflection. This one is Town Branch bourbon from Lexington, Kentucky. I've never actually had it before, so I'm giving it a try. I find the bottle appealing. I make my decisions based on the first price point, and then within that price point, shape of the bottle and labels. More so labels over the shape of the bottle, the design of the bottle. This one's a little bit too modern for me. It was between this and the Old Forester, but the 100 proof. This is a 90 proof. You know, I think this is a perfect thing to do. Sip on a nice bourbon after writing a novel. Yeah, that smells like a bourbon. Divine. Nectar of the gods. Nectar of the American gods. Because, of course, bourbon is American. And it's Bourbon County that it has to be called a bourbon, I believe. It has to be made with, over half corn, distilled corn. And so I have my bourbon here. And I got my cigar. I've looked forward to this day for like 3 weeks. No, not 3 weeks. More like months. I started writing the novel mid-September. Finished it before Christmas. Cheers. Yeah. Yeah, this definitely is a 90 proof. Doesn't quite have the kick of 100 proof. This one, the color is a little lighter. And I don't know, it doesn't really pop to me. It's not too zesty. My favorite bourbons, getting back earlier, I picked it back up probably late January and have done revisions. And then originally it was around 69,000 words when I finished it before Christmas. Now it's clocked in at over 82,241 words. But over the next couple days, I think that will increase a little bit. Celebrate. Yeah, so be thinking, like, what's the last thing we celebrated? What's something to celebrate coming up? What's our favorite drink to celebrate with? And it doesn't have to be booze. It can be, kind of anything, kind of like a treat yourself. Yeah. I'd say my favorite bourbon is probably Few. The bottle is incredible. I really think the label design in particular is outstanding. It's more of a Chicago-centric, but the taste is really good. I like Basil Hayden, but it's just not. It's only 80 proof. I kind of like me a little bit more oomph to it. But it's very sweet and a very good sipping one. Those are two of my favorites. As far as 100 proof goes, Old Grandad and I was really curious about the Old Forester. I like Old Forester. The label is really, really cool. 1856. Knob Creek is solid. I would say Knob Creek is a really solid bourbon. Not a big fan of Maker's Mark. Bullet, they're all just like kind of basic bro bourbons. They're too common. I don't like that. I like something a little different, and that's why I went with this one, the Town Branch. Yeah, it's not bad. Buffalo Trace. I would say Buffalo Trace is one of my favorites. Probably my favorite of the common bourbons. Although Buffalo Trace can be hard to find. Okay. What's something on our mind right now? Maybe it could be a big project like I've been discussing. A novel is a pretty big project. What's something that you've been working on that just consumes a lot of mental energy? Like, I feel exhausted. I haven't slept too well. It's not necessarily stress, it's more excitement. Just to get up every morning and just work on it. The mornings is when I find myself to be the clearest and have like the freshest energy to exert in whatever I'm doing. So I don't like to waste that. I want it to be intentional. And so there's about like a 2 to 3 hour stretch in the morning that is divine. And that's when I do most of my work. And the rest of the day, it's just kind of a bonus if we, get anything else done creatively. We'll leave the rest of the day for all the small tasks. Yeah. I was going to go with a scotch. I was being allured by Talisker Storm. That's my favorite scotch. I contribute a lot of memories with taste. Whether it's, drinks or alcohol, but also like taste of food, everything. You can taste something. I can taste something and then instantly I'm brought back to the summer of 1998. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this day eating Cheetos on the beach, drinking Kool-Aid. And, I can really go back to that. Being in another country, I feel, does that as well. Taste is this really underrated scent. Put that over here. Yeah. What's a taste that is distinct to us? And maybe you haven't thought about it at all. Maybe this is the first time you're actually thinking about the relationship of taste and memories together. I'm in rural Wisconsin right now, and the snow melted, and it's been rainy. It looks, it's muddy. It's gross outside. How has the weather affected you? Like, what weather is going on where you live, where you are right now, and how has it affected you? Do you live somewhere where you have a lot of sun? Is there a lot of snow? Is there, is it cloudy all the time? Is it overcast? Like, how does that affect you? Yesterday it was like 50 and sunny. Warmest day of winter. I went for a walk in the woods, and I like exploring and looking at the deer tracks. the deer prints, with their hooves in the mud. And, I think about before pavement, a lot of the roads and in cities, people had horses and carriages, and I'm sure they were so muddy all the time. Like, clothes had to be so muddy all the time. And not only do we have pavement where we don't have as much mud around, we also have machines that can help wash our clothing. So that's a pretty nice thing. It's something we don't think about too often. We take for granted. We take for granted so many things. You could sit for 30 minutes and just think about all the things that exist today that haven't before, that make our lives higher quality in general, But instead of 30 minutes, let's do like 3 minutes right now. What's something we have in today's world that enhances our quality of life that didn't exist before? Yeah, this novel is about the fragility of life. I believe it's fresh. It's something different. And it's unlike what I've read before as far as fiction goes. So we'll see what my editors say. Right now I feel great about it. And then a couple days later, editors are just going to tear it to shreds. So right now, I feel good. The fragility of life, I think it's such an important thing, and this is intertwines with what we're doing right now, is this gift of life. We have it, and we can do what we want with it. But oftentimes we let life and all these external things affect how we live and affect our being and often create suffering. In life, time is short. Time is short. Love is real. And if you're not consciously doing these things like we're doing, setting aside time and thinking about our own life and actions and what do we want out of life, then time passes us, and then we can be left with regrets, and that's what we don't want. And we want to live every day knowing that we're not wasting our time, and that we're making the most out of this gift that we've been given. So I feel good. It hasn't quite sunken in, though, yet, that I finished the novel, the writing part. That's the biggest step, right? But it's also a milestone in that I published 2 books last week. Until the novel, which will come out on June 27th, that's when it's scheduled to release, we're going to be publishing 2 to 3 books a month because we can. And so this last week, I published 2 books, and this is, I haven't seen the physical copy yet, so this is the first time, and I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to do it in our Rich Reflection session. So this is a series called Nuance and Notes that I've really enjoyed, and right now there are 2 books published in this series. We have Chicago Clarity and Paris Beauty. The ones I'm about to open are New York Energy and Los Angeles Dreams. That's why I'm wearing the LA hat today in this recording. So I haven't seen the physical copy yet. I thought I'd open it during our session. It's like Christmas. Better than Christmas. All right. New York Energy, Los Angeles Dreams. And already there's an issue with the New York Energy one. Messed that one up. It's cut off. Damn it. The LA one is sick. Check this out. It's a great cover. I'm so proud of this cover. It's my favorite. So now, so you shouldn't be see how this is cut off? It's an issue. But all we do then is just resolve it. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? We just solve problems. That's what we train our mind to do, is just go about life, have a clear mind, and be able to see things and then react to them accordingly. You know, and we don't get angry with things. We don't get frustrated. Sure, we can get frustrated in a sense, but we don't want to indulge in that emotion. We just want to acknowledge things that can improve, and then we go about and just resolve them. It's very simple. So, life, I gotta tell you, is so much easier if you just don't complain about anyone or anything for any reason at any time. Don't complain. Take complaining and that concept and remove it from your life and observe the results. So, what would your life look like with no complaining? I think that's something people don't really understand. A lot of the problems in our own life are self-inflicted. And we put so much weight on so many external things. Why? It's interesting going about your life and hearing complaints from other people and the frustration that it causes them and the angst and the suffering and the misery. Why? We were just talking earlier, right, about quality of life and what are some things today that enhance our quality of life that didn't exist before? When people are complaining, what it demonstrates is a lack of perspective, right? Being able to see outside your own self and your interconnectedness to it, your role in it. When you set a boundary and a rule for yourself and follow it, it creates a big difference. So no complaining. It transforms how you think, right? I have that rule for myself and I follow it, but there are certainly at times where at the surface of it, I want to complain. There are plenty of times that I feel that way. I want to complain. But you just got to suck it up and just move forward. Very simple. But these aren't the types of skills that are taught or are emphasized in the world, yet they're the most profound. It's so simple. Life is so simple. The world is becoming increasingly complex, infinitely complex. But how to live your life right and how to live a fantastic life it's still very, very simple. And we shouldn't confuse that. You gotta do your thing. Relax. Be calm. It's fine. That might be the biggest issue in the world. Certainly America. Just the constant complaining. For this next question, what's a small thing we can do to enhance the quality of life in the world for other people? What's something we can personally do? It doesn't have to be this grand gesture. What's something small that we could just do to make the world a better place? You could say hi to someone. You could compliment someone. You open a door for someone. You know what I mean? Like, it's so simple. We want to be additive to the world, not subtractive in a way, right? We don't want to take more from the world than we're giving. What do we got for time here? Yeah, let's start wrapping this up. I've enjoyed this time with you. I feel like this has been a very simple conversation. Simple yet rich conversation. What are we energized for in the next week? It's always good to have something to have energy to give towards. Also understand that balance of like your energy levels. Right now, mine are depleted a little bit more with the just giving a little bit more intensity. Not a little bit more, a lot more every day. Towards something that's bigger and in alignment of the direction we want to be going towards. But be aware, like listen to your body and what it's saying. And if it's saying rest, like rest, you know? I like taking hot baths, hot Epsom salt baths. It's one of my favorite things to do in the wintertime. It's cold outside. Light some candles, some incense, lie in hot water. It's the best. It's the best. Dance in the shower. It's on hot water. That's pretty good. So always keep that in mind. Always kind of have something at the forefront, something you're looking forward to, and also remember, don't complain. You can't complain. Remove that from your approach in life. Like, remove that in your like moves, you know? If you're going about the day, you know, we can, kind of like a video game, you know, the character has different moves it can do to proceed moving forward in the game, right? Well, now subtract complaining out of a move, out of the character. You can no longer proceed through the game with complaining. It's omitted. So try that out. Try that out the next week. No complaining. I've been thinking about that lately. And how I've benefited from it. It's so worthwhile. Immeasurable. So thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time. This is small but important stuff. And very grateful that you're here with me and we share this time together and we're getting better together. So thank you and inspire the future.